Hello, hello. All right, are we getting there? Cool. What's going on? Let's see. Is it catching up here? All right, cool beans. All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe, and share this, no matter how you're watching this or listening to this. Yes, I do have a podcast. My podcast, you can find that by going to any podcast and type in "Let's Talk About It with Will Johnson." You have to do the Will Johnson part. Let's Talk About It with Will Johnson. And you can listen to the podcast. So if you missed the video, you can at least listen to it. And I greatly appreciate it if y'all would connect with me on my podcast. So now let's get on with this. Man, every time I wake up, I think today's going to be a quiet day. Maybe today is going to be one day where things will just settle down, where things are not going to be all crazy and haywire any longer. Maybe just today, that would be the day. But it's every single day. There's something else happening. Something every single day. Constantly. And I want to share one with y'all right here, right off the bat. And this is with Joe Brandon automatically turning his back on a question. And what is that question? The question was, what about the 50, I think they said 50 people now reported died on the southern border. 50 people because they were in this container, in the 18-wheeler container, and they were all dead in there. So there's no telling how long it's been going on, how long, just because did they all die at the same time or just, one after another just start dying? It's horrible. And this happened on the southern border of the United States of America. And then it was presented to the question to Joe Brandon. And what do you think he did? He does what he always do. What he's about to do, what I'm about to show you, for those of you that have not seen this, he's going to be asked a question and he's going to do the same thing about the question, what he's been doing to the people in this country. He's going to turn his back on it. This is a valid question. Had it been President Trump in his position, if President Trump was asked about the 50 people that's been reported, between 46 and 50 people reportedly died in this trailer, President Trump would have addressed it. I think President Trump would have came out and said something about it from the get-go. Just like when the assassination attempt against Brett Kavanaugh, President Trump wouldn't have waited. He would have came out and said something, said this will not be tolerated. You will not do this. But in this case, Joe Brandon and the rest of the Democrats, they're like, this is, well, some other Democrats are starting to speak up because this is really looking bad. They were running all of this on the abortion issue, talking about come December, listen to me, come November, this abortion issue is going to bring all of the Democrats out. Yet, I don't think so. Let me play this short clip. It's just a really short clip, but now listen carefully because you can hear the reporter off in the background. And I'll try to bring it up just a little bit, but just listen and watch his reaction with Emmanuel Macron.
But thank you for your hospitality. It's unmatched.
Sorry, that's not Emmanuel Macron. That's somebody else. But listen.
But thank you for your hospitality. It's unmatched.
Reaction to the deaths of 50 migrants in Texas?
Could y'all hear the question? It was right there.
It's unmatched.
Reaction to the deaths of 50 migrants in Texas?
Right there. And he just ignores it. Turns his back and keeps walking away. But he does that all the time. Unless he has his card, his special card that they wrote for him, when to talk, when not to talk, when to sit down, when to change his diaper, he won't say anything to the press. Says nothing about it. Is this what leadership looks like? This is a major problem. 100% a major problem. So again, now here's MSDNC talking about this issue on the southern border. And it's so bad that Joe Brandon won't even mention it, won't even talk about it. It's so bad that they're struggling with this. They're struggling. Let's just watch this, because they're going to struggle to talk about this story because they don't want to say anything bad about Joe Brandon. They really don't. They want to chalk him up like he's doing a wonderful job, a great job. But what's happening with these people dying on the southern border, little girls, children, boys being raped by the cartel, by these drug dealers, and the Biden administration says nothing. They struggle. Listen.
And then it spiked. But this is, I've got to say, this is something Democrats, and I've said it for some time, and people don't like hearing it. They need to hear it. This is something that Democrats need to get their arms around. We have to have laws at the border that can be both humane, but also that can support legal, safe immigration. Sending a message to poor, underdeveloped countries and to their life.
Listen to this.
That if you risk your life, if you risk your children's life, if you risk your family's life, you just may get into the United States. There's nothing progressive about that message. There's nothing humanitarian about that message. We've got to do a better job along the border.
But that's exactly what they've been doing. That's exactly what the progressive movement is all about, convincing these people to risk their lives coming across the southern border. And then many times this is not the first case. This is not the first case that they pulled over an 18-wheeler with people in the back of it deceased. This is not the first time. And the Biden administration refuses to acknowledge it. They created this problem. Like I constantly tell y'all, they create problems, they create crisis, or if they don't create the crisis, they take advantage of it. They use it to their advantage. But in this case, had it been 50 plus people died because of an AR-15 in this truck, let's just say they were all shot in the truck with AR-15. Then he would come out and say something. Oh my goodness, we've got to do better than this. We've got to stop the gun violence. I'm surprised they didn't lie and say that's what it was. It was gun violence that did it. Why not? They're lying about all this other stuff.
Yeah, and it's really bad at the moment. I was down in Arizona recently, and everybody is talking about the situation, and many actually talking about the tragedy of the situation of women getting raped as they come across, of children getting separated from their parents, of children getting raped as they come across, of the people smugglers really taking advantage of what is seen as...
Listen to this. I mean, they're like having a hard time even talking about this. They really don't want to talk about this. They really don't. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want people to know about it. They really don't, because they hadn't been saying much about it at all up until now. This is really bad. And it's because of the season of the year, the time of the year that we're in is the only reason why, in my opinion, that they're addressing it. Other than that, they don't care. This is going to hurt all of the Democrats. Literally, they had, like I mentioned, they were running on the abortion issue, right? They were running on that because, hey, this is going to bring all the Democrats out. But this is horrifying. They got the gas prices still going through the roof, and now you have all these people dying on the border because of the policies of the left. And then they're screaming about what, they can't take the life of little children any longer? Really? That's your MO?
An open door policy, and the message gets back very fast from people from, the US to other countries that at the moment it's easy.
Now, I don't know if y'all heard that, but it sounded like someone was ripping one in the background, but it kind of sounded like a zipper too, like a zipping on a bag. And then later on in this video, he's going to like sneeze. It's like they don't know that his microphone is hot or something. But anyway.
Easier to get in, which seems to be why we are seeing more people coming across the border. As you say, Barack Obama did have a surge in cases. Donald Trump had a surge in cases at one point. And now
you hear this? At one point. At one point. Would you say she's acknowledging that President Trump actually had it under control here on MSDNC? I mean, that's what it sounded like to me, because President Trump had it under control at one point, right? Remember?
Surge in cases at one point. And now Joe Biden is having a real surge in cases. And it's going to take more than Kamala Harris going to what are known as the triangle countries, the countries that send from where most of these people are coming, because she went and she said the message is don't come to the States. Nobody seems to have heard that message, and they're still coming. There was a thinking at one point that this was just COVID and that COVID had exacerbated the economic situation in those countries, but that doesn't seem to be the case, because people are still coming in huge numbers, and we're ending up with this awful tragedy of what's happened in this truck, of people just being piled in and bodies, and it seems like there were children in that truck too. And you're right, Joe, the administration has to do something about this.
They had a hard time telling this story. This story is horrible. Women, children in the back of the truck, deceased. Come on. And Joe Brandon won't even say a word? Is this your Democrat party? He won't even say a word about it. He just ignores it like it didn't even happen. Like, I'm not going to address that. Like, oh, that's a made up story. Kind of like what Jerry Nadler was saying, Antifa's not real. It's a made up story. When they don't like something, they'll just ignore it. The Communist News Network does it all the time. You know, every time they get caught in a lie, they just ignore it until it just goes away. But people don't forget about it. It's horrifying. You know what? The Democrats have created so many problems in this nation. People are finally waking up. People are starting to turn away from it. It's so bad. You have in New York, you have prosecutors quitting at an alarming rate, to the point to where it has New York, the mayor, concerned, the governor concerned. They're concerned. I mean, the crime is going through the roof. And they don't even want to acknowledge the crime that's going through the roof. They don't even want to say anything about it, right? They want to give a pass for these people getting off. Look at this. This is the problem here. And they try to act like they didn't cause this problem. Again, I tell y'all, every single time, the left, all of the problems that we have been created by the left. They have. Show me a problem that the left has not created. Seriously, I would love to see it. Share a problem that the left has not created. Seriously, do it. Listen to this.
Big Apple, where hundreds of prosecutors are hanging up their hats. The New York Post reporting a major reason is simply their bosses going soft on crime. Joining us now, Rafael Mangual, Manhattan Institute senior fellow and author of Criminal Injustice. Rafael, great to have you here.
Thanks so much.
I mean, it is really something to look at this. Manhattan has hemorrhaged about 12% of the staff so far this year. 65 assistant district attorneys gone, walked out the door. They can't operate under these soft on crime policies.
That's exactly right. I mean, and what we're seeing is a big sapping of their motivation, right? Imagine that you sign up to be a crime fighter.
Yeah.
And you end up being asked to be part of something that you probably saw as part of the broader crime problem, being associated with the kinds of policies that give people free passes time and again. And you see these individuals come back around through your office with even more serious charges in the future. I find it hard how this wasn't predictable to a lot of people. I find it hard to believe that this wasn't expected. And you couple that with some of the reforms that have been enacted in recent years in New York, and the job of a prosecutor has just morphed into something really, really different and unpleasant and hard to feel meaningful in.
And then they get upset. Then you have the Democrats upset because the Supreme Court did the right thing when it comes to New York. The gun laws in New York were unconstitutional. And they're wondering why people want to be able to defend themselves. The left, they can't understand it. They can't wrap their mind around it, that people want to be able to defend themselves. Just think about that. They created this problem. And some people don't like to hear it. And if there's any trolls on there, show me something where the problems that we have, the left didn't create it. Because you can't talk about the gas prices, because all of that happened because of the policies of the Biden administration. The XL pipeline, are you familiar with that? Not only that, they stopped drilling on federal lands. Are you familiar with that? Joe Brandon said that he's going to stop all the drilling off the offshore. Are you familiar with that? This crisis that we're going through right now is because of the Biden administration. Same thing with the inflation that's happening. Do you know what caused inflation? It's not us that don't have money. It's the government that's spending money that they don't even have. They're causing the inflation. But y'all want to think it's somebody else. Oh, y'all want to think it's Russia. Y'all want to think Putin did that. Oh, Putin did that. I mean, take responsibility. It kind of makes me think that's the same reason why the left don't want to take responsible, or women, right? These leftist demonic women don't want to take responsibility for their actions. You know, when you go out and you lay down with a man and you get pregnant, they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They just want to do away with it. Same thing. They don't have any issues with it. Now, let's get on to a straight up evil person. I think this person is one of the most evil persons on the planet. By far. And if you think differently, I would love for you to send me an email and prove me wrong. How is this not one of the most evil people on the planet? I'm being serious. Send me an email on why you think that this evil person is not one of them. Well, she's upset because of what happened in the Supreme Court. And she's one of the biggest advocates of killing black babies. She's been pushing it for years. Her and her husband, Billy, they don't have any issues with taking black lives. When Hillary Rodham Clinton was in Texas, listen to me, in Arkansas with Billy Clinton, she and Bill Clinton head up this prison program. And what ended up happening, they created all these prisons in Arkansas along the state lines of Arkansas and Texas. And what they did was they locked up a whole bunch of black people in these prisons. And then they were juicing these people. And come to find out, all this information is out on the web. You can go look it up. You don't believe me? I don't care. You can go look it up or don't look it up. But she was juicing people and then selling the blood to other nations. And come to find out, the other nations cut it all off because it was infected. That's where I'm going to leave it at. So that way you can go look it up and see what it was infected with. This is an evil demonic person. But in this case, she's talking about Justice Thomas. She hates this man. She hates him just like all the left, all those on the left, the white. They've been calling Justice Thomas the N-word. Have y'all been seeing that? It's been all over Twitter, especially because Twitter allows it, apparently. But listen to this demonic woman. Listen to it. She's so demonic.
Justice Thomas has sort of floated that out there about contraceptive rights,
yes,
contraception, and about same-sex marriages. But other justices have pushed back to say, no, he's really sort of on his own with that.
Well,
Don't believe that?
Well, he may be on his own, but he's signaling, as he often did. You know, I went to law school with him. Mm-hmm. He's been a person of grievance for as long as I've known him. Resentment, grievance, anger.
So let me get this right. We have an angry white Democrat saying that he's an angry black man, right? I mean, seriously, right? Now, if the roles were reversed, if Hillary Rodham Clinton was a white man talking about a black Democrat, what would they say? Can I get a show of hands? What they would say? Oh, that's racist. Would they not be saying that? So here, because they know she's a Democrat, they get a pass to be racist, right? Right? Personally, I don't think she's, for the most part, just me, okay? Personally, I don't think she's saying it for racist reasons. My point is that if the roles were reversed, the left would be screaming racism. That's my point, even when it's not. See, I can admit it. I don't personally think maybe she is. But I personally don't think that's the reason why she's saying it. But the roles reversed, just one more time, they would be saying it then. But she's saying that he's an angry black man.
I've known him. Resentment, grievance, anger. And he has signaled in the past to lower courts, to state legislatures, find cases, pass laws, get them up. I may not win the first, the second, or the third time, but we're going to keep at it.
So you're saying people pay attention to
yes,
this?
The people he is speaking to, which is the, right-wing, very conservative judges and justices and state legislatures.
Okay, so is Justice Thomas talking to, per se, racist, right-wingers? Because that's what they say about the right-wingers. I mean, I'm just proving the point here, people. You gotta see this, right? Because any other time they're referring to the right-wingers as racist white Republicans, right? They do it all the time. I'm not making it up. You know exactly what I'm saying is true. So is that what she's saying, that this black man is appealing to racist white people? I mean, come on, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't.
Judges and justices and state legislatures. And the thing that there's so many things about it that are deeply distressing, but women are going to die, Gail. Women will die.
Can I let y'all in on something? And I'm not being insensitive at all. Trust me. I'm not being insensitive at all. But she just sit there and said that women will die. Can y'all tell me what person on the planet at some point is not going to die? Now, she's trying to say, of course, she's trying to say that women are going to die because they're saving babies' lives now. So, and you know, good and well, she's specifically talking about black women, because there's this thing right now to where they're trying to convince everybody in America that this is going to be more harmful to
people of color
than anybody else. I'm not making it up. Y'all have heard it over and over and over again. They've repeated it so many times. They've said it so many times. But they're trying to instill this lie into people, trying to say that women are going to die because they can no longer murder the child. Does that make a lick of sense to anybody? Do you see the disconnect from reality with these people? They're completely disconnected with. And the reason why I show this stuff to you is because you need to be informed about the stuff that they're showing everybody else, and people are believing this nonsense. Said women are going to die. Well, you know what? I hate to say this, but everybody is going to die. If you do something, if I get in a vehicle and I've been drinking, I go down the road and I possibly could die. And guess what? It'd be a result of my actions. Or I can get in a vehicle, not been drinking, someone else could have been drinking. Or I could get in my vehicle and no one's been drinking and just end up in the accident. People will die. That's just the way of life. Reality sets in at some point, but not with these people. They reject reality, but not all of them. And you know what? I can't take any credit, but I would love to know that I played a big part in what I'm about to show you. I mean, I think maybe a small part, but I can't really even claim that either. I'm not going to, but it would be nice to know that I played just maybe a smidgen. You know, it'd be nice to know. Not claiming it. But you have a lot of Democrats right now that are leaving. I mean, sprinting. They're not walking. They're sprinting away from the Democrat Party. A lot of people on the left saying that I have had it. I can't do it anymore. This is just beyond stupid. They're sexualizing our children. They're targeting us with this trans stuff. And have these grown men dressing up like women, and then they reject actual women. That don't make any sense. Where the hashtag Me Too? Where the kitty cat hair wet wearing hat women at? Where they at when it comes to the girls? And you have a grown man that they're putting on a pedestal, but the actual female, they're disregarding them. But all of a sudden, when Roe versus Wade gets overturned, then all of a sudden they're all about women's rights. All of a sudden, now they remember what a woman is. Imagine how that works. But look at this. This is such a powerful, powerful statement. And you know the left can't stand this. And you know the main reason why they can't stand this is because when you have a black woman that is saying that they're leaving the Democrat Party is going to go into an uproar. They're going to go in panic mode because they don't understand how they're losing. See, now they understand how a black man can leave the plantation, the virtual plantation, the Democrat plantation. They understand a black man doing it because black men would run from the plantation, the Democrat plantation, from the get-go. They would try to get away to freedom. But women wouldn't do that. So when women start leaving, they start panicking. Y'all need to be on the lookout because something else, I'm just putting it out there, I don't know what it is, but something else is going to happen between now and then. Something dramatic. Check this out.
1 million voters have reportedly switched their party affiliation from Democrat to Republican, as all signs are pointing to that red wave in November.
1 million. Did you hear it? 1 million. I don't think you heard it. 1 million. That's only the ones that they know about.
1 million voters have reportedly switched their party affiliation from Democrat to Republican, as all signs are pointing to that red wave in November. Joining me now are two Democrats turned Republicans. Harriet Holman is a veteran and Dorchester County, South Carolina council member, and Jim Neal is a former Democratic sheriff in Cincinnati. RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel said this about the voter shift from blue to red. Biden and Democrats are woefully out of touch with the American people, and that's why voters are flocking to the Republican Party in droves. American suburbs will trend red for cycles to come. Do you think she has a point?
Absolutely, absolutely. You can see it. I mean, in February of this year, I left the Democratic Party coming over to the Republican Party. There's a huge shift. And not only that, it's one person at a time coming from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. I'm speaking to my friends. They are shifting over right now. We are going to continue to leave the Democratic Party because their policies are not working for all Americans. You know,
I mean, come on. Yes. 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 I know, I'm sorry. I had to stop it. This is so good. This is good. Is this doom and gloom? This may be doom and gloom for the left because this is a black woman saying it. This is beautiful. And she's actually calling it out. She's actually calling out the Republican Party's for all people. And the people are starting to recognize that. You know what? They shouldn't have been putting these grown men putting on lipstick and these dragon queens and presenting them as actual women. They shouldn't have been doing it because people are recognizing it. This is so beautiful.
We are going to continue to leave the Democratic Party because their policies are not working for all Americans. You know, when you got to pay all these extreme high gas prices just to get to work, that is not going to work for the American people.
But wait, what about the Roe versus Wade? What about them taking away women's rights when it's actually not taking away women's rights? I mean, it's really not, but that's what they scream about. See, this is not supposed to be happening. Not right now. Oh my goodness. I mean, the Democrats are so out of touch. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, on the talk shows, on the Communist News Network, MSDNC, they brought these women on there and they would say, this is going to rally the women in America. Even remember Mad Maxine Waters said, this is going to bring out all the black women that hit the streets when she's calling for violence. This is phenomenal. This is not anything that they expected to happen. And I love it.
Extreme high gas prices just to get to work. That's not going to work for the American people. We got to get back to the basics. And the Republican Party is back to the basics, making sure that everyone has an opportunity, not a handout, but an opportunity to work hard, you know, to do the things they need to do to support their family.
I mean, come on. I mean, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And you know, the left, they probably calling her all kind of names right now, right? But she was a Democrat until February. This past February, she was a Democrat. So just imagine, this 1 million have changed their voter registration from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party. The 1 million that they know about. And again, like I said, before I played that clip, I'm not claiming it, but man, did I play a part? I'm just questioning it. I mean, it would be nice. I'm not going to lie to you. It would be nice to know that Will Johnson played a part in waking people up and getting people to see the truth. Get black people to go back to the roots, the political roots, which is the Republican Party. Now, there's some in the Republican Party today. Okay, yeah, I get it. You know, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, you know, Liz Cheney. I mean, they're there. I mean, but they're going to move out the way. They're going to get pushed out the way. I'm telling you, things are changing. And you know, and I did a video in the midst of all this darkness, there is light. In the midst of all this darkness, there is light. It's absolutely wonderful what is happening. All right, let me share something else with you. Now, this one is kind of disturbing. I had to show something positive. I did. It's not all doom and gloom. Okay, so here's something positive. Well, no, this is not something positive. This is troubling. Y'all remember this? This one, Joe Biden was like, who's he talking to right there? He's like so confused. Like, where am I? No one is talking to him. No one's acknowledging him. It's just like the old man in the room. Like, no one wants to get close to because maybe he smelled funny. Maybe he didn't change his diaper. They need to give him a card. Go change diaper on the card. I mean, something's wrong with this dude. Something is inherently wrong with this dude. The mainstream media, they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to pay attention to it. But then we have this here. Have y'all seen this one? Right there is Emmanuel Macron, and it's going to get ready to pan over to Biden. And just look at Biden. What is going on? Look at him. So Biden is he's just standing there. And did you see him? Let me take it back. Look at this. You see him right there? You see he's looking down? There's a card on the table. There's a card on the table. And he's looking on the card to see if it's giving him direct. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is. There's a card right there on the table, and he's looking to see if it's telling him to sit down. It's really not funny. It's really not funny. But look at this. What do I do? Maybe it's on this card right here. No, it's not on the card. And the dude tells him, he said, take a seat. I don't even know who this dude is. Just take a seat. And of course, he's helping the lady. Here, take a seat. Take a seat. And Joe Biden just looking like, which way to go, George? Which way to go? I mean, he has no clue on what's going on. This is really disturbing because, the rest of the world is looking at this dude. And I'm like, man, what happened to America? It's really not funny. It's really not funny. And what's disturbing, though, is that there's a lot of people that would try to say that Joe Brandon, they're giving an excuse for Joe Brandon. They're giving an excuse. Well, he's just old. Well, if that's the problem, don't you think that's a problem? Well, we need to give him leniency because he's just old. What? He's just old. And then President Trump, I think President Trump is actually older than no brain Biden. I think, if I'm not mistaken, someone can send me a message. Yeah, Trump has his wits about him. Trump knows where he is. Trump knows how to handle himself. Trump is still strong, mentally and physically. But this dude here, he's a major problem. He's a major problem. Let me share something else with you that's a major problem. Do you know, for those of y'all that watch my video, don't you know that I've been saying that they've been coming after white people, and I'm talking about the left, for years now. I've been saying it for years. I remember before I even recognized it, there was this young lady talking about how they were specifically going after white men. And first when I saw it, when I was new, I said, what is this about? What is this about? I hadn't even seen anything about it. And then boom, sure enough, it just started presenting itself more and more and more because someone brought it to my attention. And then now everybody knows it, right? And the reason why they were attacking white people is because majority of the people in this nation they're Christians. Okay, my producer just told me that Trump is 3 years younger. Okay, 3 years younger. But 3 years ago, Biden still didn't have his mind. Okay, so there's nothing new. Because remember, he was in the basement. Right? But anyways,
you ain't black.
I mean, come on, seriously.
I got hairy legs.
And that was before 3 years ago. But anyways, listen to this. The reason why that you have the left going in an uproar right now, they're blaming what the Supreme Court have done by overturning Roe, by saying that it's because of their religious beliefs, not because of what's written in the Constitution. But that's what they ruled on. Nothing in the ruling said anything about a religious belief religious ruling, nothing, nada, zero, zip. It was all strictly based on the U.S. Constitution. But they don't care. They don't care. They're pushing the idea that Christians are the problem in this nation. Hillary Rodham Clinton said it in the election of 2016, that Christians are the problem, that Christians need to be reprogrammed. She literally, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's what she was literally talking about, because Christians are what's holding the country back. But listen to these demonic witches as they talk about the issue being Christians. They don't come out and say Christians, but they say the religious beliefs. And we know they're talking about Christians because they're not talking about Muslims. They're not talking about Buddhists. They're not talking about Hindus. They're not talking about anything else other than Christianity. Listen to this.
Sonny wants to make an important point.
Yeah, and I think our viewers know this. I don't believe in abortion at any time. I don't believe in any exception to it. I don't believe it. No,
even incest.
No, I don't. I don't. And that's considered very radical and for many people.
Yeah. So, saving a life is radical. All of a sudden, I mean, my goodness, how dare you? How dare you?
It's because I'm Catholic and that's my faith. The justices, there are 6 Catholics on the bench. And there will be 2 Protestants because the newest Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is Protestant, and there'll be 1 person of Jewish faith.
But so I guess if you're Protestant, you don't know what a woman is. I guess is that safe to say?
And so this has always been a very difficult discussion for me. But what is not difficult for me is the fact that this is an activist Supreme Court, and they should not be deciding the law based on their faith.
That's not what they did. Someone please show me in the ruling where it said they did it based on their faith, because of their morals, because of their religious beliefs. Where? Because if that was the case, MSDNC, the Communist News Network, even Fox News would have been plastering it all over on the telly. They are all over. It would have been all over Twitter that they did that. She's lying. It has nothing to do with it. They did it based on the U.S. Constitution, which they hate. They don't want to acknowledge it. Listen.
And it's just, and even though I agree with Alito on the sanctity of life, they
cut to them. What? On the sanctity of life? How dare you? What? What is that? What is that?
And he is clearly against abortion because he's had this
he's never had to have
forever.
one, so he can make those kinds of decisions.
None of them have. But the fact that he clearly is using his religion and wielding it as a
how does that reconcile with RBG though, who always
you know why they're saying that they're using their religion? Because they know in the Christian Bible, the Holy Bible, the Word of God, that they know that taking the life of the most innocent of us, of a child, is a sin. It is a sin. That's the reason why they're targeting Christians. And I'm telling y'all, hear me now, believe me later on, their attacks on Christianity is going to increase. It's already been, steady coming in, but it's going to increase. Y'all don't have to believe me now. Y'all can think I'm just saying words here, but it's going to increase. And the only reason why I said it, because I see the writing on the wall, and the word tells us that it's going to happen.
was dissenting. She did not like the way Roe v. Wade was decided, but she was someone that saw the Constitution as a living document. She had a different interpretation, philosophically speaking, yet she felt legally that there was an argument there. So does this necessarily mean it's a religion?
Don't we have church, separation of church?
No, we don't anymore.
I mean, Clarence Thomas needs to have a seance and have Thomas Jefferson there and Alexander.
You hear this? You hear this? This proves that they're witches. Look, did y'all hear what she said? And actually, I kind of missed this before until now. And it just proves that they're witches. Listen, she says they're going to do a seance. Listen.
Have a seance and have Thomas.
right there. They're going to do a seance, and listen what she's going to say in the seance, because there's nowhere in the Constitution where it talks about separation between church and state. That's not even in the Constitution. That's something that they came up with, like a rule of, like a rule of thumb, like we're just not going to mix the two. Right. And they did that around when they did the 501c3 with the churches. And this young lady sent me an email that was just absolutely wonderful. I'll get to that in a minute. But because the churches getting the 501c3, they did that's when they started saying separation between church and state. Well, as long as you don't talk about politics, we'll make sure that you can be tax exempt. There's nowhere in the Constitution about separation between church and state. Listen to the seance, right?
Thomas Jefferson there and Alexander Hamilton. Hello?
Yeah.
Do we still have a separation of church and state here? Is in the Constitution?
It's the First Amendment guarantee, and we don't seem to have that anymore.
It's not in there. They're lying. They don't even know what they're saying. There's so many times that they go on the telly themselves and put out blatant lies, and they're just saying what they feel, right? They're just regurgitating what they've heard over the years.
We're in a theocracy right now. And
6 of the 9.
And we're in a theocracy right now. Like, religious leaders are just running everything. Biden is the most, this administration, the Biden administration is one of the most anti-God administrations in American history. One of the most. Obama was the first one, but this one takes the cake with all the transgenderism and everything just going on. This is Obama administration on steroids. The demonicness.
Justices were born or raised were raised Catholic.
Catholic, yeah.
22% of America is Catholic. And one of the bastions of our democracy, of how we were founded as a country, was a separation of church and state.
Yeah.
I'm a Catholic too. You were raised Catholic. We were, most of us were raised Catholic. The way I reconcile it is, if you don't want to take contraception, if you're against contraception, don't take any.
Yeah.
If you're against abortion, don't have
do it.
one.
Yeah.
If you're against gay marriage, don't marry a gay person. If you're against
you're
same-sex
doing my whole show, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well,
If you want to believe that sodomy is a sin, you should be able to, but they will attack you. They'll find out where you work to get you fired. I'm telling you, they will do anything they can to hurt you if you don't agree with them, though.
I would say that I am rabidly pro-choice, but I'm also pro-life, because I don't see a 9-week-old fetus equal to a baby equal to the mother. And I think the fact that we're not putting more consideration on the mother or the eventual baby, that these mothers can't support. A lot of the 6 in 10 women are already mothers when they have an abortion. Right.
So that makes it okay. And they're saying that, women in poverty, so that makes it okay to just, disregard it, trash it. That makes it okay. I mean, these people don't understand what they're saying.
Now you have all these people that are making this decision based on the kids they already have. And I look at that and I think also the women that are forced to do this because they can't come out and say what happened to them due to the families they have, due to incest in their family.
It's not anybody else's decision. I mean, and I want to make things very clear. I'm very pro-life. I've never been anti-life.
Whatever.
I want people to have the lives they want, but I don't want to force anybody.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. She's literally lying right now. They want to force everyone to join in and believe that sodomy is okay. They want to force everyone to join in and believe the lies that they're saying. They want everyone to believe that targeting children is okay. She wants to force that. She wants to force them. Making Roe versus Wade at the federal level is forcing the states. Think about that. That is forcing the states to comply with an unruly law. That's what they want. But since she turned around and said that they want to force anybody, if that's the case, then it should be fine going to the states, right? So then don't force anybody. Let the people in the states decide. But you want to force that.
I don't want anybody coming in my house telling me how to raise my daughter and what she needs, because they don't know. I appreciate everybody's religion, but I do not subscribe to your religion.
I mean, you hear this? And you know what gets me? Didn't she play in these movies like she was a nun and stuff like that back in the day? right? When they talked about God and they did all the singing and stuff like that, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, this is great, right? This is before the Democrat Party was openly rejecting God. And see, again, these people, these actors and actresses, when they do actual morals, good things, they believe that only exists on the big screen. You know, when they're behind the camera. In the real world, they don't believe morals actually exist, or they shouldn't exist. Doing the right thing is not doing the right thing. They say, like, that's not right. That's only for the TV. That's only for movies.
I don't ask you to subscribe to mine, and you do not have the right, based on your religious beliefs, to tell me, because what's next, as Clarence Thomas is signaling, they would like to get rid of contraception. Do you understand, sir? No, because you don't have to use it.
But that's crazy.
They don't have to use it.
Everything's on the menu now. Contraception's on the menu. Gay marriage is
he
now
better hope
probably going to be overturned. Affirmative action is no more.
You know what? They're talking. So after Justice Clarence Thomas came out and talked about sodomy possibly being on the list too, that's when a whole bunch of white liberals started calling him the N-word. Now they were angry before then, and maybe they were saying it before then, but I didn't even notice it until after the statement come out that he's saying we need to look into that, because, you know, sodomy is not in the Constitution. You know, it's not. So then all of a sudden they started calling him, because I'm like, why did all of the, you know, because he's not the only one on the Supreme Court that made this decision, but they were like targeting all of their hate towards him. And that's when I dawned on me, oh, this is why, in my opinion, this is why. But now listen to this. Here's something else what they're going to twist up with the Constitution too, because Whoopi Goldberg is going to talk about what it is to be a black person in America.
In the Constitution either.
Well,
we were not even people
he is
in
saying
the Constitution.
Nothing is precedent
and
anymore.
Well, you better hope
Clarence,
that they don't come for you, Clarence, and say you should not be married to your wife who happens to be white. Because they will move that. And you better hope that nobody says, you know, well, you're not in the Constitution, you're back to being a quarter of a person.
Back to the 50s.
You hear that? That you're going to be go back to a quarter of a person.
That's not going to work either.
Go back to a quarter of a person. And actually what she's referring to is the 3/5, that where the Democrats say that the Republicans call black people 3/5 of a person. And again, so many people don't even know what that's about. During the time of the Civil War and actually before the Civil War, the Democrats wanted to take all of the slaves that they had on their plantation and count them each as a vote. And you know, the white slave master was going to do the vote for them because, you know, they couldn't read. It was preventing them from reading or anything. So he was going to have them vote in favor for slavery, right? Think about it. They were going to have them vote against their best interest. Well, the Republicans said, no, you're not going to be able to do that. Well, and they, you know, became a big fight, and the Republicans compromised with them and said, okay, well, what we will let you do is let you do 3/5 of them, right? So every so many, right? And they agreed to that. And then they turned around and said, see, they said you're only 3/5 of a man. And they've ran with this story ever since. Had the Republicans not did that in the first time, I probably wouldn't have my freedoms right now to say anything. Seriously. And it's the Democrats don't view us as actual people. It's always been the Democrats that's done that. Always. Always. Can I share something else with you? So this was on Tucker. And I do like Tucker. I've said this multiple times. If I ever get an opportunity to meet Tucker, I'm going to take it. Because, you know, the left, they hate him. And I'm like, man, they hate this dude. Out of everybody on Fox News, they hate him the most. I mean, my goodness. They run complete campaigns trying to get rid of Tucker. Why? Because Tucker will talk and tell the truth. He'll talk about it. He'll talk about what these Democrats don't want you to talk about. And he has millions and millions and millions of people. If I'm not mistaken, Tucker He gets more views than the entire Communist News Network put together. Because people tune in to hear what he has to say. Listen to what he says here, because he has this gentleman on here with the Turning Point USA, and he was out there interviewing people. People probably ever seen this. And this guy walks up to him and he's talking about babies, and he said, "You want to kill babies? Just let me just play it, and you'll see. And then we'll talk about it."
Journalist Drew Hernandez ran into people like this over the weekend. Here's how it went.
What's wrong, sir? You like killing babies? You love killing babies?
Yeah, I love killing babies. Drew Hernandez shot the footage you just saw. He's an investigative reporter and host of Turning Point USA's Frontlines. We're happy to have him join us now. Drew, thanks so much for coming on. So the rhetoric even a year ago was my body, my choice. It was a bodily autonomy question. It was a libertarian question. The guy in the Pete Buttigieg T-shirt just told you he loves killing babies, and the rest of them were saying the same thing. This seems like a big change.
Yeah, it seemed like a big change. Yeah, it is a big change, right? Because it's the demons. And you see how he said it to him, right? You see how he said it. Listen to his voice.
Weekend. Here's how it went.
What's wrong, sir? You like killing babies? You love killing babies?
Yeah, I love killing babies.
I mean, is anyone starting to see this? Does anyone starting to recognize the demonicness? It is a spiritual battle. For real. It's not just saying it's a spiritual battle. It literally is. There's only one explanation why people would be so evil and so hateful about saving lives like this. And you know, one of the things I've been talking about is the magic number. Do you know what the magic number is? 15%. 15% is the magic number. We have the opportunity in the United States of America now for black people to reach 15%. Is that asking too much? 15%. That's not asking too much, right? It's like 13%, riding around 13.6 or 13.7, something like that. And every time it gets it gets right at 14. I think maybe it's gotten to 14.2, 14.3 maybe. Then they pick up production at Planned Parenthood and start, the machine. We gotta meet these numbers, I mean, the quotas, right? They got to meet these numbers. But we have the opportunity now to have 15%. That's a start, right? And there's more white people that's in support of that than anybody else, which is kind of odd, right? It shouldn't be. And it's white conservatives. They're in support of it. The same ones that the left keeps saying, "Oh my goodness, this replacement theory." They say it all the time. I think it's like they want the replacement theory. It's the left that's saying it. It's the left that wants it. Because I've yet to hear Tucker Carlson say, we're going to be replaced. Seriously. And you know where they got it from? You know where they actually got the replacement theory, the whole thing from? From the Democrats that were holding the tiki torches in Charlottesville. Yes, they were Democrats. And it's already been exposed. Yes, they were Democrats. The same white dudes that were out there holding the tiki torches talking about we would not be replaced voted for Hillary Rodham Clinton. And even for Joe Brandon. Dinesh D'Souza plastered it all over Twitter. So, oh, look, he just admitted to who he voted for. That's where they got it from. So it wasn't Republicans that ever even talked about. No one ever talked about it. There's never Republicans talking about the replacement theory. It's always been those on the left. 100%. Those on the left. All right. Let me say thank you to a few people before I bounce, because I want to say I appreciate you. Sonda, thank you so much. I think I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for the stars. Herman Kane, my man, Herman Kane, thank you so much. Victoria, thank you so much for the cash out. JDWC003, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kathy, thank you so much for the stars. And then Mary, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Tom, thank you as well. Thank you, Tom. Joy, that's the good Joy. Thank you so much. Alonzo, thank you so much for the stars. Tom, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much, Tom. And then Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kathy, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much, Kathy. John, thank you. Thank you, John. Becca, thank you so much, Becca. Then Daniel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Brian, thank you so much, Brian. And then Linda, thank you so much. Jamie, thank you so much. George, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Laura, thank you so much for the stars as well. Brenda, thank you. Wow, what the blessing. Tyler, thank you so much. Thank you. Lanny, thank you so much. Thank you so much. George, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And then Maggie, thank you so much. Maggie, thank you so much for the blessing. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate all the blessings. Remember, God is still on the throne. He's in control. We're seeing light in the midst of all of this darkness. It's amazing. God bless. Good night.